Hey, Jeff, it's Chris. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Hey, Mayor and Jason are both stuck in a traffic accident on 116th Street, so we'll be running about 5 minutes. Just like this?
This is what it picks up. This is
Ah.
what it
Got it. Just like this. I won't touch it. Did you hear what I just said, Jeff?
I sure did, yeah.
Cool. I'll let you know when we get going.
Okay, thank you.
What happens when I plug it up?
It creates feedback. I can't hear you because you're talking into where it doesn't pick up, and then this is when you see.
Good to know.
That makes the rest of you. I've got a conference call at 12:30. Starting a little bit late.
Call the September 28th, 2020 Board of Public Works and Safety to order. My apologies for being late. We had a traffic accident. I got stuck in traffic. No additional items, I assume, Chris? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, just one comment on the minutes. We have a slight amendment that we're going to make on the minutes to number 14. If you recall, we had tabled an item last week, or the last board meeting. We just forgot to put the address into the minutes. So for number 14, it's resolution R082420G. And the address that we tabled was at 14509 Boysenberry Drive.
Yeah, it was only 1 out of 4, right?
That's
If I
correct.
recall correctly.
That's correct.
And Jason, you were the only one.
Yeah,
It's you and I. So is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
I will second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Jason or Jeff abstains. Moving on to resolutions and requests to declare certain city property as surplus. Is anyone here going to represent this one?
I can do it for Tabitha.
Yeah.
Chris Greisel, attorney for the city of Fishers. This resolution is just simply seeking to declare an item as surplus as the first part of a resolution before doing a future trade-in. It's a 2004 Ford Explorer. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions, and I don't hear any from the board members, so is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Jeff disappeared.
Is there a second, Jeff? You might want to text him and see if he's
Audio.
got his audio on. I'll go ahead and make a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Jeff abstains.
Jeff abstains on that one. We'll wait till you get him back online before we go to the next ones.
Yep. And then also, so 7 through 12 are all 5G considerations. If you want to go ahead and do 13, 14, 15 as well, those are the other non-5G matters.
Okay, we'll go to item 13 then, a request to approve Department of Public Works ADA lift project. Mr. Steiner?
Yeah, good afternoon. Eric Steiner, Assistant Director of Operations for Public Works. So as part of our 2020 facilities capital budget, one of our top priorities is to install a public ADA elevator, also known as a lift, in the inventory control building at DPW to meet current ADA standards for a 2-story building. Before construction began on the inventory control building a couple years ago, the public ADA elevator was removed due to budget constraints, with the premise that a lift would be installed within a 3-year period. Any employee or guest who isn't able to safely ascend or descend the stairs to or from the second floor will have access to utilize this elevator. We received 2 bids for this project, as a 3rd bid was disqualified due to missing the submittal deadline. The 2 bids were Meyer & Agent for $88,750 and Design and Build for $94,451. If approved, we recommend moving forward with Meyer & Agent to complete this work and accept any questions you guys may have.
So Meyer Najum is the construction manager on this project, or?
They're the actual people installing the elevator.
Really?
They did the work, yeah.
Other questions?
No.
Jeff, can you hear us now?
He cannot, we're going to wait till after this item and Tracy's going to
Okay.
recall him.
Okay. Well, is there a motion to approve then?
So moved.
I will second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries with Jeff abstaining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. We'll take a quick
Tracy, you
technical
wanna talk?
break.
I could call him this.
Yeah, I could too. Could have a series of hand gestures.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound.
Could be like, item 13. No? You good?
You second?
If you're the meeting organizer, press star now.
You are now joining the meeting.
Oh, there we go.
This meeting is being recorded and/or transcribed.
How about now, Jeff? Can you hear us?
Yep, I'm good, thank you.
All right, excellent. We're going to move on to item 14, request to approve supplemental agreement number 3 between City of Fishers, Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for professional engineering services. Jason?
For the record, Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. Before you is the supplemental agreement number 3 for BF&S. This is for the utility coordination for all the downtown projects. It's been a contract that we've been continuing since approximately 2016. This, before you, this supplemental is essentially a 2-year estimation of what needs they would have in order to continue their services. So approximately $30,000 a year is what we're utilizing. And it is a not to exceed amount that we would have to authorize them. We do see that some of the downtown items are reducing in coordination effort, but that could change at any time depending upon some of the development that may come in.
So this mainly for the tunnel, or is this for,
It was for South Street, the tunnel, Maple. Originally, when we contracted with BFNS, it was to try to start identifying some of the utilities in the downtown area and assigning them into our GIS database. And they helped manage that and create that because it's sometimes difficult to get all the accurate information. It's proven to be very helpful with the tunnel and South Street.
any additional questions for Jason?
I have one
No.
quick. Oh,
Go ahead, Jason.
so Jason, what do they do with the utilities? Because I know we've had some instances in the past couple of years where we've done a road project, and then we have to go back and do another bore or another cut in our freshly paved streets or cemented streets. So is this part of their scope to forward think through with that?
It
Activity.
is, it's not clearly spelled out that way, but that is some of the thought process that we have with coordinating with them, is that they are looking at the utilities where they stand, they're helping review the relocation plans and prevent future relocations. The issue that you're seeing is more, and what you're referring to, is more whenever we have a new utility that comes in. We recently brought MetroNet,
Yeah.
which they're not in the downtown area, so they're installing new facilities. They're not relocating the facilities. So those are items that we're coordinating with, trying to identify where we can put some conduit in. And with the tunnel, we are putting no less than 6 conduit in across 116th Street to allow for that future crossing of any utilities and to prevent the open cutting or borings, potholing inside our newly paved streets.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Final item is request to approve an engineering agreement for Nickel Plate Trail Tunnel Project with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert.
For the record, Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. This is basically a new contract with BFNS. They had done the original design on the Nickel Plate Trail Tunnel across 116th Street. Whenever we switched to the build, operate, transfer model, we needed to re-engage with them to be able to coordinate, one, the north side and further those plans along with Meyer Najum, in addition to doing some value engineering coordination on the south portion of that was already 100% designed. In addition, we have, under this contract, you will see construction phase services, which is about $26,000. That is for whenever the project is under construction, BFNS will come in and do specialty inspection as part of the construction project, such as MSE walls and some other specialty items that may need supplement for Meyer Najum.
So this is where, I guess I have a few questions on this contract, because, you know, we signed a contract with Butler Fairman to design it, and then I have to pay them to value engineer it. Wouldn't that be part of
Yeah.
I mean, and then I just signed an amendment for them to do utility coordination in downtown Fishers, and there's a utility coordination line item on here.
Right. So the value engineering portion is maybe a terminology that is not utilized properly in this situation. The value engineering would be more of they're in the coordination efforts with Meyer Najum of, here's the first blush design. Meyer Najum takes it, looks at it from a constructability standpoint, and then they provide feedback, and there's redesign aspects to that. Versus value engineering, what we're talking through whenever you see engineering side of things is we have a full design, we go back and look at it and give 4 or 5 options only from the engineering side of things, not getting the construction feedback. So the choice of the words of value engineering may not be the proper. It should probably be more of a coordination with the BOT team.
And then we're hiring Meyer Najum to administer the project, so why are we paying these guys $23,000 for project administration?
This is for all the meetings that we're having. We have a lot of, they still have submittals they have to put together and calculations they need to do, as well as they're attending weekly meetings every Wednesday morning that are anywhere from an hour to 3 hours long to make sure that we are coordinating all the development projects and the other projects that are going along, such as landscaping and other aspects.
So why isn't that part of the scope initially?
This was the northern phase that was not in the full design. We also had terminated BF&S's contract previously to the design of the north side of the trail was, we had a contract, we terminated that contract, and then are executing a clean contract because we were pursuing a new methodology for building and designing it.
I mean, even, I would, like to your point, and you just responded that we're paying them to meet for meetings. I don't understand why that wouldn't be part of the scope, to understand that you've got to meet during the construction phase and during the planning phase. I don't understand why we have to pay for someone to have to attend a meeting when it ties into their project.
I mean, we need to make sure that they're in attendance at these meetings.
I guess what Jason's point would be is when you look at that final trail design and plans, 47,000, it would anticipate that they would assume that they would have to go to meetings to get to that final design, and that it wouldn't be like, well, I didn't know you were gonna have me go to meetings. That's another X dollar
Right.
type of thing. And it seems like here we've got more money in, I guess, additional items than we do in the actual design.
I think that whenever you're looking at the final tracing or the final trail design and plans, that's more of the actual designers doing the work, putting the plans together, the meat of it, where the administrative, value engineering, and the permit, those are just task items. They aren't always broken out that way. Sometimes there are contracts that are put together that it's lumped together into final trail design and plans. And then in the hourly man-hour justification process, it does have the administrative side. So it's not always that the board actually sees that, and you're seeing it here. So this is something that we have vetted with them, and in this contract, I believe it says that they're anticipating 10 months worth of work for these meetings. And we've had those conversations that it should not go any further past that, and if it does go past that, then we would have those conversations as to why.
So from a percentage perspective, if you take out the construction phase services, because let's call that inspections for lack of a better term, the total percentage on this is it roughly what you would expect from a design cost associated with a project?
Yeah, this is honestly the number that they had remaining in the original contract, and so they've transferred it over, but I've also, whenever reviewing that and having conversations with them, have ensured that we do not have any overages on this. So I think that this is really a fair price and in line with what we would see, if not better, because of the amount of coordination that is required on this project with the surrounding projects.
We're paying for that in the previous amendment.
Well, that's the utility coordination for other items.
Yeah. It's hard to swallow. So what if they don't receive this money? How do they collaborate?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What if they don't receive this money that you're asking for? How do they collaborate in the coordination then? They just build it and design it and say, this is what you get?
That would then fall on city staff and the engineering department to run the meetings and then transfer that information over to the designer from the construction team. There would be, I mean, if we were not to approve this as is or at all, then we would need to find another solution to have it designed. Then if you were to only approve it as a partial with the administration piece and the construction phase services piece removed, then I would have to go back with my team and determine how we could transfer that workload onto my staff.
So this is, just to be clear, this is a contract that we previously awarded for the total amount, and then this is what's remaining to finish the design.
Okay, so it's not something fresh.
It's not
and
new, so it's
Correct.
not a new amount of money.
Correct.
I do think, I mean, in the future, like, these breakdowns are, to Jason's point, a little bit frustrating in where they put their money. I mean, it does seem a bit arbitrary in some of this, but since it's already a contract we've approved, and we're really just regurgitating the remainder of that contract for an approval because of the design build we're going through, or the BOT, I'll make a motion to approve at this time. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we can skip back to item 7, which is the request to approve residential waiver to install small cell facilities in Ashwood. Tammy, the 5G expert, is here to walk us through these.
Right, Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering. We met with Ashwood HOA back in beginning of September to talk about 2 locations that they have, that Verizon has proposed within their neighborhood. We had a good conversation with the HOAs. The location of these 2 are at intersections on the main stretch of road through the neighborhood, and the HOA has agreed to both of these locations as proposed.
Okay, any questions for Tammy on these 2?
Or 2 locations, 1 resolution, is that correct, Mayor?
We have one
Yes.
resolution that's approving both locations,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions for Tammy?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
No.
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Next is a request to approve residential waiver to install small cell facilities in Burberry Place.
Yes, we met with Burberry Place HOA back in September 11th. There are 4 locations in this neighborhood that are before you for approval. The only comments that we received from the HOA was that they wanted to verify that there were lights on these, and there are, so they were okay with everything and accepting of the locations.
Any messaging from the residents that were notified?
No, the HOA met with all of the residents at a neighborhood meeting.
Oh, okay. Any questions from Jason or Jeff?
No.
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is a request to approve residential waiver to install small cell facilities in Gatewood.
Yes, in Gatewood, there are 4 locations that we met with the HOA on back in the middle of August. 2 of the locations, if you can see on the map, 7430 Wood Court, in discussions with the HOA, Verizon, or the HOA had proposed it to be relocated from the middle of Wood Court over to the intersection here. Verizon was accepting of that change in location. And the HOA had also suggested moving 7221 from the lot lines here to the intersection here. Verizon was accepting of that location change. The other 2 locations, one is on 11006. It's on Lake Run Drive. The HOA had suggested to move it to the intersection of Ridge Court and Lake Run to replace an existing streetlight that is there. Because of the closeness to some other locations in the neighboring neighborhood, Verizon had stated they would not be able to relocate that. because of some proposed locations. You can't see, it's outside of the map area, but there are some locations just south, or I guess west of this location. And then the location here at 10916. There were several conversations during the phone call and also after that the HOA and some residents had suggested to move it south along Gatewood Lane to replace an existing street light that is here, or to move it across the street directly adjacent to that street light. Verizon had stated that due to coverage, to get their coverage objective, they would not be able to relocate it, but this would be located in the island area in front of these 3 homes here, kind of surrounded by there's a tree blocking the home's view of this location. So those 2 Verizon was not accepting to relocate, but the other 2 Verizon did relocate.
So 7430 and 7221, there was consensus by Verizon and
Correct.
the homeowners to move to those locations.
Yes.
And then 11006 was fined by both parties' accounts.
The HOA wanted it to move to the intersection to replace the street light.
That's right.
But
Okay.
Verizon was not able to do that because they stated that the neighboring neighborhood, the proposed locations in that neighboring neighborhood would be affected.
And then 10916, the same situation, where they wanted to move to and replace a pre-existing street light,
Yes.
weren't able to. Questions by Jason or Jeff?
So there was one comment that was made to match the style of light that's already in the neighborhood. So is Verizon's plan match that, or is it different? I didn't see any response to that piece.
They will be able to match it
Okay, great.
closely, as close as they can.
Okay.
One question I had on the 10916, right there where you have the 2 cul-de-sacs, was it ever contemplated to move it to the north where the common area is? Up Gatewood Lane, just to,
Up to here, I'm assuming, by the pond.
no, that's south,
Or-
isn't it? So go north. So from there, go up, along the Gatewood Lane. You get to where that cul-de-sac comes out, but there's no home. That common area,
Okay, right in here.
yeah.
No, there was not any discussion to move it that far. The streetlights are in this area, and they stated that by moving it to that location, it would not allow their coverage objective. So to move it, there was no conversation to move it that far towards Allisonville.
Or even if you moved it even a little bit north, where you're getting the sides of the 2 houses. I mean, it wouldn't appear to be that far to put it where it's not smack dab in the middle of these 2. Right now you have 6 homes literally looking directly at that pole. If you just moved it,
It's like where the L is?
yeah, or yeah, you wouldn't even
Like
have to go
around there.
that far. You could go to where
Yeah.
one of the O's is.
Yeah.
And you just hit the side house.
Yeah, and that's where the existing streetlights are currently, that they had that the HOA had suggested to replace.
And
But
they're saying
Verizon-
that
That was not
So-
that was not approved by.
so it's
Verizon.
not approved by Verizon?
Correct.
But, so they're saying you can't move it south or north any direction without it?
Not to get their coverage objective that they are wanting.
So, yeah, Timmy, on the 11006, and I'm not sure of the direction north or south, but south, it looks like to me to be down on the screen, if you will, to Ridge Court. And they're saying that that's going to affect the neighboring
Yeah.
neighborhood, not,
There's the neighborhood just to the west of them. This is kind of at an angle, so north is to the left.
okay,
There's a proposed location somewhere in this area, in the next neighborhood over, the next street over. So they stated that if it moved over to this intersection, that it would overlap the coverage, the it would overlap the service area of this
But,
one over here.
okay, overlap is fine, but does it affect the service in this neighborhood?
That I do not know.
Because if it's not affecting the service in this neighborhood, which is what we're talking about, and it's overlapping the other neighborhood, I don't understand why we can't move it to the intersection.
I would have to go back to Verizon to ask if,
One,
depending on if their coverage is to come up here.
I guess one simple adjustment on 11006, maybe to Jeff's concern there, why it couldn't just be moved across the street? Because you know, I'm looking at this graphic. Right now you got it in front of that house, basically, where it'd be in front of their window. And if you just moved it across the street, there's like a common area.
Or covert or something.
I don't know what that is.
It would be the property lines between two homes.
Yeah, so it'd be, there's nobody, that doesn't affect anybody's view by going across the street. So it's,
Not even backyard.
you got two sides in a backyard.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that moving it across the street equates to some deterioration in coverage.
No, it was not brought up to move it across the street. It was brought up to move it down to the intersection. We had not discussed moving it across the street.
So I don't know what Jason and Jeff think, but I would be interested in exploring just moving it across the street if possible. Because I think they're a person, I mean, that's a reasonable location in my mind.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm talking about, Jeff?
Yeah.
As a potential solution for 11006.
And I know they have, coverage, probably you can plug in the addresses. You know, we've revised 7430 to this intersection, but what if 7430 just went to the corner, like where the big O is on Oak Ridge Drive, there, and then 10916 can be shot down towards that common area, Scott, that you mentioned, even past the LN. Because if the distance,
Right.
as far as proportionate, I don't know.
I don't know either.
You see what I'm saying there?
Well, let's do this so we can keep this moving constructively.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the placement for the time being of 7430 and 7221, since there was consensus?
My only comment would be about 7430
If you can move
movement
it.
to impact 10916.
Yeah,
You know,
If you move it down to the corner.
You see if it's proportionate,
yeah,
that distance,
I would have to defer to Verizon on that.
yeah.
Whether you could move those around or not.
But I don't even know if the neighborhood is wanting to replace a street light. That's why that thumbtack went through that corner.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There is not a street light at 7430 right now,
oh,
Okay.
okay.
so this would add a street light to that
Tammy, do you see
location.
what I'm suggesting?
Yeah, you're to move this to here, and then move this to here.
On my ruler, but
Distance doesn't necessarily, it's not equal
It's
with
not
the
proportionate.
RFs, so I've learned.
I think,
Yeah.
I think what we could do is, so we keep this ball rolling,
yeah,
and Chris, you'll have to weigh in here on a legal perspective, but I think if we could, can we adopt 7221, pose a question to Verizon on 7430, depending upon the results of that discussion, approve it in its current location, but if it could be moved, we attempt to do that. And then I would like to see 11006 potentially moved across the street. So it's kind of an odd collection of,
zip ends.
So I don't know if it's best to just make one motion, approve the one, table the other three, with the direction to go back and, I think we can be back at the next meeting with up or down votes on those, with that discussion, but So I guess, let's start by, is there a motion to approve 7221?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye, motion carries. Now, is there a motion to table 7430, 10-916, and 11-006 with two real pieces of homework, 2 or 3 pieces of homework? Can 7430 be moved in order to alleviate some of the issues at 10-916? And then can 11-006 be moved across the street? That's really the
Yep.
direction. So is there a motion to
So
table?
moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Let's move on to Ridgefield.
Okay. We met with Ridgefield back in August. We had some good discussions about some safety issues that the HOA has with respect to their kind of park area that they have between Promise Road and Ridgefield. There are 3 locations in Ridgefield that are up for approval today. 12791 and 12974 are both located at intersections, and the HOA and Verizon are good with both of those locations. Those is what was originally proposed. They have not been moved. As far as 12971, as you can see, the original proposed location was here on the north side of this trail crossing. The HOA had requested that Verizon move it interior to their property here by their trail. Because it was on private property, they were not able to do so. But they were able to determine by moving it here, that gives the HOA a little more light in this area, which is a problem area for them. So the HOA and Verizon are accepting of this location here to the south.
Okay. Any questions for Tammy?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion.
We'll go motion by Jason. Is that a second by you, Jeff?
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Hickory Woods, Tammy.
All right, in Hickory Woods, we met with the HOAs back in the end of August. There are 2 locations in Hickory Woods up for approval today. 11283 was original, well, we'll start here with this first one here with 11386. The initial proposed location was here on the south or the west corner of that intersection. In discussions, while we were talking with the HOA on the phone, there's some storm sewer, a fire hydrant, stop sign, all located in this corner here, so it was not possible to really put a structure here. So Verizon had moved it to the opposite corner. That would alleviate all of the obstructions in this corner. The HOA did come back after our phone call and asked to have it moved up to a property line that was just north of this intersection. Verizon had stated that that would kind of impact their, because of some of those trees in this area, it would obstruct their coverage area to the south. And the city engineering department would also prefer that it be located here at an intersection. 11283, that was initially proposed at this intersection of Oak Tree Lane at this corner. In discussions with the HOA, they had brought up some safety concerns in the area of their walking path. This currently is a gas line easement. They had asked if this location be moved up here to help light that path area. Verizon is accepting of that adjustment as long as there is no issues with the gas line easement and being able to put the structure in that location.
On the first one, Tammy, was that just a matter of wanting to get it out of line of sight of that home? To move it,
To move it to the property line? I
Yeah.
believe so. I believe that was their suggestion.
they
was-
wanted to move it to the north, basically?
Yeah, the property line is about in this location here, so they had asked to move it to this property line.
And the response was no?
Verizon said the trees in the area would, their coverage area, I believe, goes to the south in this location. So the trees in the area would prohibit or impact their coverage area. And as far as the engineering department, we would like to see it in the intersection if it's close to an intersection
Because of lighting, or?
because of lighting.
Any additional questions for Tammy? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries, thank you, Tammy. One final neighborhood, Timber Springs.
Yes, we met with Timber Springs back in August 21st. There are 3 locations that Verizon is proposing in this subdivision. 10840 is at an intersection. This would be at the corner of this intersection. 7601 is at this intersection, and 7653 is kind of at the bend here of Timber Springs, so similar to an intersection, I guess. During the discussions with Timber Springs, they had asked that 7601 and 7653 be relocated to these cul-de-sac areas in the islands here. And that would, Verizon stated that that would impact their coverage objective because this area here is very wooded. So the trees would impact the coverage being able to be along Timber Springs Drive here. There's also a lot of discussion about the possibility of going for shorter poles rather than the 39-foot poles. The HOA had asked if they could go 25-foot or shorter. Verizon stated the impacts with that would, the closer that they are to the ground, the more ground clutter that they have to deal with their signal. They also would have to add additional poles in the area in order to receive the same coverage that these 3 would have.
Okay.
So Timber Springs was not really in agreement with these 3 locations. Again, they wanted to see smaller poles. So we are bringing it forward to you guys today.
So they know the lights are mounted 14 feet from the surface, right?
Yes.
They didn't care about the light mount, they just thought shorter poles. Interesting.
Correct.
You'd think you'd want them higher for out of sight with a transmitter. That's interesting. That's interesting.
So,
The reasoning the HOA had given for the shorter poles was to make it look more like a street light, if that was the intent for the street lights. That way they wouldn't be as tall.
Gotcha.
on the second one here, Tammy, I'm losing the number, whatever. Is it 2219?
This one up here?
Is that a number, 2219?
No.
What am I looking
No.
at?
7601.
It's off of Forest Drive in Timber Springs.
7601?
Is that lined up in such a way that it doesn't impact that? I mean, I would have thought you'd be better off putting it on Forest Drive. Now, I'm not talking about from Verizon's perspective necessarily, but this is just me being probably elementary about this. But you have two homes directly across the street that are gonna look smack dab at this pole. Both have their homes are, so you have these two homes right here that are looking directly at that pole. And this home's gonna look directly at that pole. Whereas if you just put it over to the side here, you know, or here, like right here, it doesn't impact anybody's view shed. You see what I'm talking about, Tammy?
Are you thinking on the other side here of Forest?
Yeah.
Well, this home here is at an angle here, so they're looking directly at that intersection.
But if you place it here, or here, there's two driveways right here that would.
Okay, so move it to the other side, just to the other side of the intersection.
Two front windows are.
Uh-huh.
If you move it 50 across, you're looking at two driveways.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm just trying to be thoughtful about, you know, if you can eliminate view sheds for people, why not do it if it doesn't have an adverse impact on Verizon's ability to put these in?
Well,
The other
do
one,
we go back,
go ahead.
sorry, do we go back to the neighborhood and say, look, we're inclined to, this is gonna move forward because we don't have any basis to reject these. The pole height's not something that we govern, as long as it's under 50 feet, we don't have any purview over that, and then force them to at least negotiate in terms of location, as opposed to us guessing.
Well, I think those conversations have happened to some degree already. I think sometimes I think there's a lot of, what Tammy probably deals with initially is a lot of people just saying, we don't want these, period, get them out of here, we're not interested in them. And so people aren't really probably focused as much on how do we eliminate the view for residents. And I think we can help a little bit with that, just some thoughtful kind of line of sight conversations here. This last one on the curve, there really isn't a great solution to that.
Is it all timber up there?
Yeah, there's one lot up there that would be more ideal. But even then, you're gonna be facing,
Yeah, it's all timbered. Your map's a little bit better.
well, let's do the same here for the sake of expediency. The entryway permit, which number was that, Tammy?
10840.
Is there a motion to approve 10840?
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to table item 2, which was
7601.
7601?
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
one at the
Yeah,
Forest Drive.
with, and explore whether we could just move it across the street. And then 7653, I have a hard time with on that one. Jason points out the trees to the north, Tammy. If you were to go on the edge of the individuals, you have 3 driveways that converge there. If you just went a little bit to the north of the driveway on the other side of the street,
The trees may impact that. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of trees on that lot, so the trees may impact the coverage on that. I'd have to go back with Verizon.
can you take a look at that one? Because that's in not an ideal location. Okay, so we're gonna table those two, Tammy, with further review. Any, is there a motion to table those two?
So moved.
Motion.
Second? Motion, or, we'll go motion by Jason, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
Aye.
carries. One thing, Tammy, going forward, what I'd like to do on these is, for all the ones that we table and we bring back, let's put those at the beginning of the next list, so we have kind of a revolving, okay, these were the table, what happened with these? And move those forward, because we should, by last count, I think we have four or five now with these that are tabled at the moment. And we'll just bring those back for consideration first before we go on to the others. Are there any other additional items, Chris? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
This meeting is no longer being recorded or